Hello everyone, Debabrata once again, and today I'm planning to take a class on the theoretical parts. So today I'll be starting the theoretical parts, and these theoretical parts is generally asked during the interviews or the if in your college exams it will be a part of your written exam. So it is basically the theoretical parts, and in the if you ask me about the interview rounds, you are never going to face these questions in the interview rounds because in interviews the questions comes that is independent of any language. It is generally based on the logics. You can answer that in either C, in C++, in Python, in Java. But here today, I'm going to start that is related to the class and object. And that is an entirely part of the object-oriented programming, or in short, we call it OOP. So OOP, we call it. So the actual meaning of this is object oriented programming. Okay, so that's the thing. So Java, Python, all those comes under this object oriented programming, but C is not an object oriented programming. So I'm going to explain why C is not a part of the object oriented programming. So C is generally be called as a procedural language. So first we need to understand what is the difference between those. So procedural language means which starts from the main function, and one by one all the steps has been executed, and at the end it ends at the last line of the main function. We know how the process will go on. So first, the first line will be called in the main function, then second line will be called, then third line will be called. Accordingly it will go on. So it is a part of procedural language. So at the time of interview, this question is quite common. What is object oriented programming? What is procedural language? Everyone says like this. But if you can just concentrate on our programmings, on the logical part, whatever we have done till now, I mean whatever the topics we have done, like static programming, if, for, array, matrix, functions, recursion, string, everything, everything we have done, that is kind of the procedural language. It was in the procedural way. We have started our program from the main function and we ended at the main itself. We went line by line approach. It was started from the first line of the main function and it was ended at the last line of the main function. One by one, all the lines are being executed. So in that way, Java and Python, okay, let me talk about the Java only here. So Java comes under the procedural language then in that way. If it is being cross question if come by the interviewer, so what will be your answer? Your answer will be yes, we have done all those programs till now in procedural way. That is true. But if you want, you can use Java in some object oriented way as well, where you do not need to introduce main function even. So what I'm trying to mean, you do not need a main function mandatorily in your program. You can skip the main function. So how the program will run, from where the program will start, that I'm going to show you. So today we will use a program like banking program, and that will be the basic of this part. As I have mentioned, for loop was the most important part in your logical journey. So today we will start the theoretical journey, and in this theoretical journey, this banking program will be assumed as a base, because in next classes on the theoretical topics I will frequently mention this program of banking. And if you are able to understand this banking portion, I can say like 50% of the things will be done, because most of the people I have seen, even in the offices as well, you can trust me, like I have seen few people like having an age of like experience 7 to 8 years experience or almost 10 years experience. They do not have any clear idea what a object is. They do not have any idea what is an abstract class. So many things they do not have any idea. They are just writing because it has been written in that way by their seniors, by the project's guidelines. So they have written, but they do not have any clear idea why should we create an object, why, what is a class actually. So if you are able to understand today's program, that is, I'm just going to do only one program today, probably the banking related program. And if you are able to understand that, I hope most of the things will be clear for you. So Let me proceed with the slides. So yeah, today's purpose, today's agenda will be class and object, and yeah, it is the start of the theoretical journey. So yeah, and obviously all the links and everything about my introduction and everything will be, you can find in the details section or the description section of this class. So I would not waste my time by going through that. So if I come to the topic, today's topic is class and object, and as a prerequisite, you can say like a normal idea how a program can be written. That idea will be good. And we have already covered functions. If you are going through one by one classes, I think it will be clear for you. If it is your first class you are attending, I think still nothing more is needed. Just the basic knowledge, how you can print a statement, how you can call a function, what is the class, what is the main function, what is class. So those informations only, and nothing major. Okay. So if you do not know nothing, still it is okay. So time in hand, obviously you have to practice all those programs. So that is the most important thing you need to do after this class. So just pause my screen and try to type those programs by yourself. But first, concentrate on the program. So first I'm just going to give you the idea of class and object. What is class? What is object? So as a first program, I will choose this banking related program. So where, what do you think? What do you think? Uh, Suppose if you go to the bank and if you open an account, what do you think the developers of bank are going to write some new lines of code for your account creation? Obviously they have. If you go to the any bank, any American bank, any Indian bank, anywhere, so they have few crores, millions of users. So obviously per day probably they are going to have few new thousands or more than that, even few new thousands users. So obviously they are not means developers are not doing like, okay, there is one account opening request, I have to write a code for that person. No, it was also automatically assigned. The core part of the code is already written. So whenever someone opens in some account, one object is assigned to that person. So the core part is written, that core part is being called as a class. That is the design actually. So I'm not going through the definitions because I don't know if you can trust me or not. I really do not means I do not ask the definitions during the interview round. When I give some interview, even at that time as well, I do not I do not just remember the definition. I just show everything using the using some programming example. So here I will do the same in case of you as well. So what is class? Class means definition wise, it is something like class is a blueprint of uh, class is a blueprint or the design. So let me show you what a class is and what is the object even. So I will be using the blue Java for the time being. If I create a new class here and with the name like bank, say, if I go inside, you can use any software, but this blue Java will be good. It will give a good visualization of the class. That's why I'm using that. And I'm using that because it is installed. First reason, it is installed in my machine. The second reason is it is being highly used in the ICSC schools. So that's why it is being installed in my machine. Nothing major reason actually. So anyway, I will create a bank. I will create a class named bank. I have introduced one variable, that is balance. And after that, I'm going to introduce some of the functions. So first function I can use balance inquiry. So it is a core idea of banking. Nowadays you can find there is many things happen in the bank. You can do some online shopping, you can change your password. There is a concept of net banking. But if you go to the classical ways of banking, there are three major things used to happen at that time. First is the balance inquiry. You can check your balance. So suppose you can write, suppose something, your balance is, it will just show up your balance. So a variable called balance. That's all. What else we can do? We can use submit. You can submit some account, some values. So I can write something like import java dot util dot star. And if you and you can also take a note, like for the first time we are writing our code inside the class itself. We are not writing our code inside the public static void main. We are not introducing that. We are just writing our code inside some functions inside class. So now if I do something like, okay, let me introduce something like scanner. Scanner is in scanner system.in. These are the normal things. The normal things you need to know: how to take input, how to print something. Only those informations are required. Nothing major, nothing logical. So it is not a part of your programming round. This will be asked in a theoretical way. So obviously you can understand you do not need any major programming idea. If you are weak in the logical part, you can start fresh from this theoretical part. So no issue. So I can write something like enter an amount you want to submit. In bank, generally we do three kind of thing. We check our balance, we submit some money, we withdraw some money. That's all. It is the core idea of the banking. So I can take input something like some cash. I can take input. So int cash equals to, suppose, sc dot next in. I can take a variable name as cash itself. And what will I do? I can do something like balance equals to balance plus cash. And I can introduce another function for the withdrawal. So if I can write that withdrawal or withdraw, something like that. Enter an amount you want to withdraw. You want to withdraw. Okay, let me write here like want to submit, here want to withdraw. So again, you can use the same variable, you can use some other variable, whatever you want. It is a local variable because you can see int cash is being written inside the bracket. So the scope of this variable limited to this function. You cannot go beyond of that. So anyway, balance equals to balance minus cash. You can write that. So that's all, I guess. If I compile now, I have not written any main function for the very first time. I've not written any main function. It is just small input, and I'm just doing plus minus those small operation. Nothing major in the logical way. We have done more complicated programs earlier, so it is very simple. So you do not need to know in prior, just a normal thing. So now, after compilation, what I can do, from where the program will start, because we do not have any main function. So it will be executed in some other way. It will be executed in some dynamic way. How come? Just right click on the top of that class, or yeah, you can see an option like new bank. You can click on that and you can create that account. You can create an account of that bank. Suppose let me create an account with my name, that is Guha, say. So I can create an account with that name. I can create multiple account of that bank. Obviously, no one needs to write the code again for that second person. Suppose the second person is, uh, let me take some other person like Roy. If I create that, so another person will be created, another account will be created without writing any extra line of code. So whenever one person will come into your bank and wants to open the account, you will just create, right click here, and you will just create an account for that person. If I write just Mitra, suppose. So I have already created 3 accounts for 3 person, and you can gradually, you can create multiple. You do not need to write the code. Now the question is, now the concept is where the people are means not able to understand the thing. These 3 objects or these 3 accounts are independent with each other. What does that mean? If I do something like void balance inquiry, so it will show your balance is 0. If I submit something, suppose I can submit something, so it is asking enter an amount you want to submit. I think like, okay, I want to submit 1,000 rupees only. So I have entered just 1,000. I close the page. And after that, if I check what is my balance now, it will be something like 1,000. Okay. Now, if you think the variables under Roy or under Mitra will be changed, then it will be a wrong concept. So all the balance variables from these accounts are independent. If you check the balance of Roy, it is still 0. If you check the balance of Mitra, it is still 0. So all those variables, the codes are same, coding are same, but the version of this balance variable will be variable, will be means different for object to object. So for a common programming, for a common class, it is the design of the class, and you can create multiple accounts. Even I can create another one right now. Okay, so you can create multiple red color objects, red boxes, or red accounts, or objects. You can call it anything. So you can create multiple account, but the details, the variables inside here, I have used only one variable like balance. It will be different object to object. So now if I insert some money for Roy, suppose I have inserted some money like 20,000 for Roy, and Roy chose to insert some more amount, like I am inserting another 5,000. So first 20,000, then 5,000. So it should be something like 25,000, the balance of Roy. You can see. Now, if I wish to withdraw something, suppose I wish to withdraw 500 rupees. So obviously my balance will be degraded to 500 because initially I have submitted 1,000 rupees. But if I check the amount balance of Roy, it is still 25,000. And meanwhile, if I check the balance of Mitra, it is also the same thing. It is 0 because nothing happened yet in Mitra's account. So those variables are independent, but those are running on the top of the same code. Now the logical part will come. Like if I want to withdraw some amount from Mitra's account, like I want to withdraw 10,000 rupees. So yeah, I can withdraw. You can see the balance goes to minus 10,000. So that should not be the way. So now you can put the logics that I have written. So if I write a logic like the cash you are trying to withdraw, that should be less than equals to of the balance, then only you can withdraw the cash. And I can prompt a message as well, because it is important to show a message like uh, what is happening. So I can write something, rupees, or you can write dollar, euro, anything. Rupees cash plus has been, it is, I guess, debited. I do not have much idea on the banking industries, but it is, I guess, if anyone withdraw something, it is called as a debited. So some rupees has been debited from your account. You can print this message whenever someone wants to withdraw some money. And if it is not less than, cash is not less than balance, then you can prompt something like insufficient balance. You cannot let the user withdraw the balance, if withdraw any money if the balance is 0. So you can write something like insufficient balance. You cannot withdraw anything. So something like that. So I can give the same prompt if someone wants to deposit something. I can write something like, let me upgrade the program. Suppose when the bank was launched, it was a simple program. After that, I saw some money laundering happening in my bank. So I'm upgrading my bank code, and it will be applicable for all the users, all the accounts. Okay. So I'm just writing rupees cash has been credited because I am submitting some money. So I can write it has been credited to your account. Okay, what else I can do? Okay, let me introduce the name as well in the version 2. So have you ever seen when your Google iPhone, or when your Android phone is asking for some upgradation of some application? Why it is asking for the upgradation? Because the developer has changed the code inside. So they want you to install again or to upgrade again from the Google Play Store the latest code. So I will be doing the same. So here I'm introducing the name as well. Suppose it was the first code written for the banking industry. After that, they obviously improved. Now you can do many things sitting in your home. You can do many things using your net banking. So I'm also trying to upgrade my code. I have introduced another variable, that is name. And obviously, if balance can hold different values for different object, then obviously name can also hold different values for different objects. So it can hold different names for the different accounts. So here I can write. So that idea is very important. Most of the people doesn't have that kind of idea that these variable, the class variables, is holding different values for different objects. So that idea is you need to have after this class, and I will try to prove that idea in this class itself. It is not even for the banking. If you are opening any account in your Gmail, no one is going to write a separate code for you. If you are opening an account in Facebook, obviously all those features will be same, because you can have the same features like your friend. Just the variables will be different as per your transaction. Suppose if you are sending more friend requests, and if people are accepting, obviously your friend count, the variable friend count will be different for person to person. The variable name will be different from person to person. Here, let me introduce the name. So I can write hi, some name. Your balance is balance. So I can introduce the name everywhere. So let me introduce here as well. Hi plus name plus rupees something has been credited. Same here. Suppose I, or I can write it here. I, something plus name plus enter your amount. So everywhere I'll be using your name. So user will be happy, like, okay, bank is recognizing him, but in actual it is not. When you open your Facebook account, you can see your name, like hi Debabrata or something like that. So, or Debabrata's wall or something like that. In your case, you can see your name, but it is in general. They have just written a variable, and corresponding variable for corresponding account will show that part of value. Okay, it is not general. You cannot imagine like, okay, Facebook has written some code for you. So let me run that. I have done enough upgradation, so I can run that thing. So I will force the people to reinstall the app or upgrade the app, because after upgradation nothing will be available. So let people install that once again. So Guha will install the object once again. Roy will install the object once again, and the last person was Mitra, I guess. So Mitra will again install that uh, that app, suppose. So now if I want to submit something, so it is saying hi null. Okay, I have to insert the name as well. So now the question is, how can I insert the name? Because by default the name will be null for all the person. So how can I install the name? So first let me stop this. So it is saying hi null, so I have to introduce the name. So in that case, I have to introduce a new thing, that is constructor. Okay, so account creation we have done. So topic 2 is, we will done today only 4 topics. So topic 2 is idea of constructor. So constructor means, if you, obviously you have to put your name at the starting when you are trying to open your account. You cannot insert your name in the middle. Obviously, if Mitra wants, last time Mitra hasn't done anything. Mitra just came and withdraw 10,000 rupees suddenly. So obviously it might be you are not doing anything, you are not going to the bank, you are not doing any transactions. That doesn't mean your name will not be upgraded, because at the time of opening your account, you have to fill up a form. You have to give your name, you have to give your address, all the details. But here in our banking, I'm not asking for the address. I'm just asking for the name, and if possible the initial balance. Either you want to open a zero balance account, or you want to open something like uh, some 5,000 rupees, or some, you want some special account where you want to open the account with, suppose, 1 lakh rupees or something like that. So it will be good if you mention that. I'm not asking address. If you want, you can introduce address as well, but I'm not just increasing the count of variables. I'm focusing on these 2 variables. If we can manipulate these 2 variables, if we are able to play with these 2 variables, then obviously we can play with multiple variables as well. So let me prove the concept first. So now here you can introduce another new thing that will be called as a constructor. So constructor is something that is similar to the function. That is exactly similar to the function. Some people are just scared of this topic, like what is constructor now. Do not think in that way. It is same as in functionality, just it has three difference. Obviously it looks weird. The name of the constructor is same like the class name. It has no independence, no freedom, like I can give a separate name. So it has to be the same name with the class. Second is, it doesn't have any return type like void or int. You cannot put anything. So it will be normally without any return type. Here in function you can see it is void kind of, but here you cannot write anything. There is a second difference. And third difference is, you cannot call this constructor anytime. It can be called only at the initialization, only at the starting. Okay, so it is made in that way. That's why it is not, everything is same, everything else, all the logics are same as a function, but here you cannot create it as a function because it can be called at once only at the starting. But function can be called anytime. You can submit money anytime. You can, if you can remember last time, Roy submitted the money twice, first 20,000, then 5,000. So you can call it anytime. You can call balance inquiry multiple times. We have just done just few minutes back. We have called balance inquiry multiple times. But here, this function, not, I will not say it is function, otherwise it will be a wrong message will be sent to you. It is same like function, but I will call it constructor. So you can call constructor only once at the time of creation of the object. So whenever you create the object, this will work. So I can write name like, I can give a normal name like user to everyone. Everyone I will give the name like user, and everyone I will assign the balance as 0. You can do that. Okay. So if I run this program first, let me create only my account just for a demo. Suppose let me create Guha, and Guha is being assigned as a balance 0 and name user. If I click on balance inquiry, it will say, hi user, your balance is 0. Because I have assigned, it was at the time of creation of this Guha object, this part has been executed. You can see, you do not need to call it explicitly. It will be automatically executed and it will assign this value inside. So you cannot call it later. It will only work at the starting. That's all. Now, if you want to manipulate with this program, suppose I do not want to take input from here. I just want to manipulate it like a function. We have already done the class of function. So I just do not want to take the amount from here. I want it to be provided from outside in cache. Same here. I want to be provided it from the outside in cache. I do not want to take it as input in here. Okay. So if I compile and if I create the account once again, if I force everyone to reinstall or to upgrade our app, suppose Guha will do that. And same, suppose Roy will also do that. So if I check Guha, now you can see whenever I'm trying to click on submit, it is asking for some prompt. So that is the use of the function parameter we have done in the function. Function parameters, if you write something, you have to provide that value. So it is asking for guha.submit, inside bracket, it is asking for some value. Let me insert 10,000. Suppose Guha is submitting 10,000 rupees. So it is saying, hi user, rupees 10,000 has been credited to your account. Fine enough. If now it is the turn of Roy, so Roy submitted 20,000 once again. And Roy, okay, it is saying, hi user, 20,000 has been submitted or credited into your account. Roy is again submitting 5,000. You can call it multiple times. It is saying 5,000 again has been credited. Now, if you check the balance of Roy, obviously it is 25,000. It will hold its own value. And if I check the balance of Guha, it will hold 10,000, obviously. So it is a good way. So cannot I do something like this function? Here I am inserting the cache as a parameter. So if you are saying, I have already said like bank is the same, constructor is same like a function. It has only 3 differences. The differences are, if I mention, it is always fixed name. It has to be the name with the bank. It is a interview question as well. The constructor Functionality wise, the working principle wise, it is same like a function. But the difference is it has to be the same name like the class, no return type, and constructor can be called once. It cannot be called multiple times like submit, like balance inquiry, like other functions. Otherwise, everything is same. If everything is really same, can I pass any parameters from here like I have done here? Answer is yes, you can pass some variable. So let me pass like int b. Let me pass, okay, let me pass first string, string n, and I will assign that n inside name. I can pass it. If I can pass it, I can do anything. I am not doing any plus minus. I'm just assigning it to name. So now what will happen if I compile and if I force my accounts, my objects to reinstall this app? So what will happen? So at the time of reinstall, it will ask for a name. So I can give some name like Guha, and the account ID. I will not create an account like Guha. I will give the name as like account 101, or you can write object 101, anything, or object one, or you can write account one, anything. Account and object both are same. The account means it might be a Facebook account, it might be a Gmail account, it might be a bank account. It is just an object. It is just an object of the original code, because obviously no one has time for us, no one has time for me. The developer doesn't have any time for me, like he will write the code for me when I will open the account. No one has that time, that much of time. So he will just open up object or open an account. In local language, we call it account. In technical language, we call it object. That's all. You have to have that idea. So obviously it is taking, this input is being taken by the constructor. So if I, let me repeat that step once again. Now, if I click on new bank, it is showing another thing like string n. This bank is actually, you can see it is written like new bank. This bank is actually this, denoting this bank. It is the constructor, it is not the class. It is the like the constructor. You can see the constructor looks like bank string n. Now if I right click, it is also showing like bank string n. Okay, so if I click on that, okay, let me create another account, account 2 suppose, and it is with the name of Roy, suppose, something like that. So if I'm clicking on OK, so we have two account 1 and account 2. In reality, it might have multiple thousands or millions of account as well. So if I submit something, it is asking for some cash. I'll be inserting 10,000, suppose, for Guha. So it is saying now, take a look, hi Guha, rupees 10,000 has been credited into your account. So it is becoming more specific. So now if I submit 20,000 for Roy, it will say hi Roy. So it is not saying hi user, it is saying hi Roy, rupees 20,000 has been credited to your account. So if I insert once again like 5,000, so it will say like hi Roy, rupees 5,000 has been credited into your account. You can do whatever you want. Now I want to withdraw something. I want to withdraw 50,000, but I have only 25,000 in my account. It is showing insufficient balance. You can add your name as well, like hi Roy, insufficient balance. So if I check the balance, it is hi Roy, your balance is only 25,000. It is printing. So it is more specific. In the meanwhile, if I check the balance of Guha, it is saying hi Guha, your balance is 10,000. So you can see how smoothly I can insert the name at the time of creation. If you want, I can insert more as a function. It is similar like function I have told you. So I can also insert the initial balance. So I will put that inside the balance. So it will be also needed at the time of creation of the object. So if I compile, everything will be removed. If I create, now you can see, okay, let me first show you. You can see here it is written like new bank string n int b. So it is denoting like we are calling the constructor. We do not have much thing in a class. We can have few variables, we can have constructors, we can have functions. So we can have only three things in a class. Class is basically the design. Class is basically the design. We can have three type of things in a class. Few variables, constructors, we can have functions. That's all. And you can, with this design, you can create multiple objects, and multiple objects will hold different values in their variables. Functions are kind of activities that we can perform in bank, that we can perform in Facebook, like sending requests, messaging someone. So these are being called activities. So you can do multiple activities in bank as well. Like you can submit some money, you can withdraw some money, you can check your balance. I am using only the core banking. I'm not using like online shopping and many things. I'm just using the normal thing. So you can do some activities, but the variables will hold different version with respect to different object. That is a main part, main thing you need to know after today's class. And that idea will be required throughout our theoretical journey. So all of those things will come after that, like polymorphism, abstraction, overloading, overriding, all of those things will be dependent on this concept. So on the basis of class, on the basis of this coding in the class, you can select, you can create multiple accounts or multiple objects. Any app you can choose, Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, Ola, anything, any app you can choose. Whenever you register your name, whenever you open the account, whenever you install something and give your name and your phone number to register for that app, to sign up for that app, that means you are providing the value to the constructor, and it is creating one object for you, and constructor can be called at the starting itself. And basically you are creating one object or one account, and that will be based on the same coding design written in the class. So you will just create another account. That's all. So that is the idea. So here, whenever I'm trying to create that object, it is calling the constructor itself, and you cannot call the constructor after that. It is only for the first time you can call the constructor. So it is the constructor itself. If I run, suppose let me give some name like ob1, ob for object, or account one, you can give anything. So let me create an account with my name Guha, and I just want to open the account with 10,000 rupees. So you can see one object is being created, and you can see we are not using any main function. It is pretty much open. You can do anything, like the real time. Like the real time, you can do anything. It is not needed that you can open your account with any name. Suppose let me open the name with Saha. Suppose, and with the balance like 20,000, something like that. Okay, you can submit some amount multiple times. So you can submit like 10,000 more. We have already opened the account with 20,000. So now I'm submitting more, 10,000 more. So let me submit once again. Let me insert 5,000 more. So 20,000, 10,000, and 5,000. It should become 35,000. I'm not that good in mathematics, but yeah, it is a simple mathematics we are doing. So just plus minus. Okay. And if I check the object one or the account one, my balance is still 10,000. So you can play with that. You can open any account anytime. Let me open the account of suppose OB3 in that manner. Suppose it is for Roy again now. And Roy wants to open the account with 50,000. So you can do whatever you want. There is nothing is there to restrict you. Nothing is there to guide you. Like, okay, you have to start from main. You have to go around that. You are independent to you are independent to do everything here. Okay, you can go by your choice. Anytime you can click here, you can withdraw, you can click here, you can check balance. So whatever you can do here. So you are fully independent, and that is being called as a object-oriented programming. Till last class, whatever we have done in Java, that was done in a procedural way. We have started from main function and doing the steps one by one as it was written in the main function itself. But today, whatever we are doing, that we are doing with more freedom. No one is guiding us like, okay, this is the first line you need to execute. This is the second line you need to execute. Whatever you want, you can do that. Okay. So that is the idea of the class and object. So now if I proceed for the topic 3, and topic 3 is saying written way to create objects. We have done that independently. We have done that with much freedom. But if anyone asks to do that in a written format, what needs to be done? Here you have to remember this new bank, whatever I have written, that means calling the constructor of the bank class. So let me introduce a main function. If you are missing public static void main, then let me introduce public static void main. But in reality, no one use public static void main. But yeah, we are we are used to with this public static void main. That's why I'm introducing. But generally, people in real life do not use public static void main. Okay. So, but still, we are missing. I know few of you are missing public static void main. If it is the case, now you have to be happy. You can be happy like I have already introduced public static void main. So if you are writing public static void main, and if you click on public static void main, that means your program will be starting from here. So now it is again, it is not a good way. Okay, where the program is gone. I probably close the window. Okay, it is not a good way, but still, if you do all those tasks in a written way, you can do like this. Bank OB1, it is just the written way, but no one does that. Believe me, everyone does like in a with their freedom. Whatever you want, you can do that. But still, if I want to show that, obviously, it is new bank, it is the constructor. It is also mentioned in the slide. New bank means the constructor. So the same thing you have to provide it here, that we have entered with freedom independently we have entered, but here you have to write like, okay, I want to open a bank account, name OB1 or account one, whatever you want. That will take an input like Guha and 10,000. Whatever we have done just few minutes back, now I am doing the same thing, but here in a written way. And again, you cannot change your decision at the runtime. So it has to be fixed. So what we have done, if you can remember, we have inserted 20,000 into Shaha's account. After that, what we have done, OB1.submit. We have submitted 10,000 probably, if I can try to remember. After that, not OB1, it is OB2. What I have done after that, OB2.submit 5,000 after that, I guess. After that, I have checked the balance. So OB2 balance inquiry. Only inquiry, it is not taking any parameter here. You can see balance inquiry is written in a simple format. So it is not taking any parameter like submit, withdraw. It is not taking any parameter means this one. It is simply written like balance inquiry. So I'm just calling ob.balance query. We have already called the functions earlier as well, but this time you have to tell for which object you want to call that function. So here we are doing this for the OB2. And at the end, if I can remember, I have done like OB1.balance inquiry as well, just to check the balance of Go. So it is not a good way, because if I run that, everything will happen automatically. You do not have any choice to do that. If I compile, if I try to run now, you can see these options once again. Every time we have run our program, we ignore the first option. Okay, we always go to this option, void main string hugs. Now, following that procedural way, if I click on public static void main once again, let's see what will happen. All the written steps will be executed one by one. That means first we will create the account of Guha with 10,000. After that, account of Shaha will be created with 20,000. Then Shaha will submit two values. It is already pre-described. You cannot make the change. If I run, all those steps will be done. Hi Shaha, 10,000 has been credited. 5,000 credited for Shaha. After that, hi Shaha, your balance is 35,000, because we have written something like checking the balance for Shaha. And as a last line, it will check, hi Guha, your balance is 10,000. So everything will be written, everything will be pre-described. So you cannot make your changes, you cannot have your freedom. So it is already mentioned. So either you can follow this way if you like, but most of the people do not like this way, because here everything you have to write and nothing happens in a written form in the real world. everything happens in so dynamic way. You can go to the bank and you can decide like, okay, I will withdraw 500. After withdrawing 500, you can think like, okay, no, I need another 500 or another 1,000 rupees. So you can withdraw another 1,000 rupees. So it happens in reality as per your freedom. Nothing is scripted. So, but still, if you are missing your public static void main, this is the way. And another thing, you can anytime, as I have mentioned, a class can have three things: variable, constructor, and the functions. Here I have shown you how you can call your function. You can see ob2 dot balance inquiry, ob1 dot balance inquiry, ob2 dot submit. So same in the same way, you can call your variables as well, depending on your objects. Okay, you cannot call constructor because if you can remember, constructor can be called once only at the time of creation of the objects. Here it is written in point number 3, constructor can be called once. So you cannot call the constructor as per your choice, or you cannot write like call the constructor, because I can call the constructor only once here when I'm creating that object. So just few things you need to take a look into. Here I'm using constructor. Just go slow and just listen carefully. We can call the constructor. This is the constructor. Constructor having the same name like a class. So this new bank is basically the constructor. I have also written here, new bank means calling the constructor. We have to concentrate on these key lines. So I have mentioned the three differences, that is important. And here it is important to understand new bank means the constructor itself. So you cannot call the constructor explicitly. It can be called only at the time of creation of the object. So this part is done. The leftover part is you can call any function anytime with your object. So you just need to mention the object name for which object you want to call the function. You can write that. And another thing, you can call your variable as well, because we only have three things in our class. So you can simply call like I want to see ob1.balance, the variable. You can simply write, you do not want to call ob1.balance inquiry, ob2.balance inquiry. You want to see your balance in this format. So it will print your variable in a raw way. But again, it is not a suggested way to see the balance to print your variables directly. If even developer can get the access of your variables, they can anytime manipulate it. If the bank employee can write this option, they can anytime just manipulate your variable. They can anytime do like ob1.balance equals to ob1.balance minus 5,000. So actually in real world, this variable is always hidden. If you want to see your balance, call balance inquiry. It is the function. So it is the best way. You have to remember three things. Again, first is, this is your constructor. It can be called once. Constructor means this one. Second point is, you can call your function many times as you want, multiple times, anywhere you can call your function with the corresponding object. You have to just mention for which object you want to call this function. And the third thing you need to remember, you can call the variable as well, but it is not a good way to expose your variable in front of everyone. This balance should be hidden. If anyone get the access of ob1.balance, they can write simply ob1.balance something. They can do anything. They can steal your money. They can write something like ob1.balance equals to ob1.balance minus something. They can simply do that and steal your money. So it is not good to expose your variable. If you want to see the balance, click on that. If you have the access on the function, you cannot delete the variable. You cannot decrement the value. You can only call the function. That is the beauty of the function. You cannot make any changes inside. You can just call the function and you can see the balance. And in general, I will show that later. These variables are hidden actually. And that is another property of Java. I will come to that in next few classes. But for the time being, if you want, you can do that, but it is not suggested. Even this total approach is not suggested to write everything in main function. It has to be normal. It has to be with full of freedom. What is there in reality? In reality, you do not follow any scripted way. You do whatever you want. So now for the last time, probably if I want to create this, I want to run this function, main function. and one by one, everything will be executed. And here you can see the variables balance for two objects has been printed. Okay, if you want, you can do that. But in generally, what happens, let me show you just a few glimpses. So people generally put a private in front of that. So if I compile, so that these parts will be hidden. No one can see this variable from the outside. So that's what it happened in reality. But for the time being, I'm not going to do that. I will show that in later classes. Otherwise, it will be too much. I will request you to just go through whatever we have done today. Just go through that. Then it will be make more sense to you. Otherwise, you might be confused with all this. Okay, so if I go to the last topic, topic 4, obviously it is a theoretical topic, but obviously I prefer uh, some written formats of this program. So I know it is theoretical topic, but still some practical task for you. So if you go to the album, or if you go to the Facebook group, our Facebook group, so you can see like ICSE board exam, obviously it is made for the class 10 students, but yeah, you can take the advantage of that. You can go through the group, and obviously if it can be done by a class 10 student, obviously you can do that in more easy way. I can assume. So if I go to the album, there is one album called ICSC previous year's question. So I think it will not be tough for you, because it is made for the class 10 students. So you can see 2011, you can go to any of the programs from uh, question number 4. You can go to the question number 4 from any of the years. You can pick and you can go to that. So if I go to randomly, if I go to any question number 4, you can see it is question number 4, and the year is 2012. Let me go to that, and here it is asking for some class development. So they are saying define a class called library with following description. If I want to copy that, if I want to create that class quickly for you, you can practice that. Then you will be having a good idea of the class and object. So what is the name of the class? So it is library. Just follow what they are saying. It is very, very easy. It is a question paper of class 10. But yeah, for the practice, it is good for the starting. So let me create a class library. It is asking for, okay, sorry, it is class library. It is asking for some variables like int account number, string title, string author. If I do that, int account number, string title, and string author. Author. You can define in that way. After that, it is saying void input to input and store the accession number, title, and author. You can simply, whatever they are asking for, do whatever they are looking for. So whatever they are asking, let me do that. So simply I will introduce the scanner class, new scanner, system.in. So now what will I do? Okay, obviously I have to import java.util.start, and I will take an input like system.out.println. Suppose I can write enter your name, something like that. I can introduce it like title equals to sc.next next line, or next probably. Let me introduce the author. Enter the title. It would be enter the title, not your name, I guess. It is about some book. I have not read the question even. I'm just trying to solve that quickly. Enter the author, because it is just a waste of time, I guess. But still, if that helps you somehow, because we are very new with class and object, so that's why. So the last one is the account number. So enter the account number, and I'm going to insert that inside account num. So whatever they are asking, I'm doing blindly. Even I have that confidence. It can be done by, if it can be done by a class 10 student, at least I can do the same. So it is saying void compute to accept the number of days late. Okay. So I can do something like void compute. So I can simply copy the scanner class and I can say like input the number of days late. So I can write enter the number of days, uh, uh, number of days uh, uh, for the late fine, suppose anything, and it is asking charge rupees 2 per day. Okay, first let me take an input. It will be a local variable. You have to take a look into two or three small things. Here, these variables, suppose let something, this variable is local. It is not a class level variable because it is being introduced inside the function. It is almost everything is theoretical thing, but still it is good to have an idea with the code itself. So I am just taking it inside a normal variable because the use of this variable is limited to this small part itself. It is not dependent on the whole class. The use of account number, title, and author is global. We will use this in multiple functions, but here the use of late function is limited to this function itself. So we do not need to declare that it's global. Even they have not directed us to make it global. They have said like, okay, just write something like this. So it is saying display the fine charge at the rate of the 2 per day. So I will just take input and I will say system.out.println. Very, very, very simple. So I can write this, the late fine is plus 2 into late. That's all. Or I can mention rupees 2 into late or something. Anything you can write. So that's all. The last function, I guess I have another function, void display. So I will just print the name as it is looking for. So it is saying to print accession number, title and author. So I will just simply write system.out.println accession number. I can give a tab or you can do anything. You can put some spaces, anything. I can put title. I can put a tab. I'm using just tab just to make the equal distance. That's all. And in the below, I can write again system.out.println and I can write here ACC number plus I can give a tab. After that plus title, I guess the name is title in small and plus a tab. Tab is just given just for the equal spacing. If you want, you can put some spaces as well. But again, for the shortcut, I'm using that for author. That's all. If I compile, I guess, okay, some problems are there. Okay, a quote will not be there. Yeah. So that's all. Now you can do, it is asking for write a main method. Okay, they are asking for a main method, create an object, create one object only and call the above member methods. Okay. They do not want to continue it in an independent way. So I will write something public static void main string args. And I will just create the account like library. Class name is library. So I can, sorry, class name is library. So I can use that name. So the object, how can I create that? Same like the bank class. So I have mentioned at the starting of this class, I will repeatedly use the concept we will learn in this class. We will use that concept in the further classes. If you are able to understand that, then it is okay. So I will create a one object, a library OB1, new library. So our constructor here is nothing and it is being called as a default constructor. If you have not written anything, still it will work and it is being called as a default constructor. If you want, you can introduce a constructor. If you do not want, then also it will work. Okay. So you cannot input anything. You cannot write like Guha or anything. Then it will give some error. But if you keep it blank, it will work in a normal way. So now I want to do ob1 dot input. I can see the first function. After that, it is saying ob1 dot compute. And the last one is ob1 dot display. Okay, fine. I can just, whatever they are saying, I'm doing that blindly. Even I do not understand the program. I'm not good. I never went to the library. But yeah, I can do whatever they are asking. Okay, sorry, it is not library. Sorry, my bad. I'm too tired, I guess. Anyway, so it is display. So I guess the program is completed. So you can see a class with some variables. Here we have not introduced any constructor. Constructor is optional. So if you have not given any constructor and if you are writing something here, it is being called as a default constructor. And it is a interview question as well. I will show you where all the interview questions are gathered, but I will share the link in the description of this class itself. But if you have not written any constructor and still you are introducing an object, that means you are using the default constructor. Okay. So after that, I'm just simply calling the functions one by one. ob1.input, ob1.compute, ob1.display. If you want, you can create multiple objects as well. It is as per your wish. So I guess that's all. You just need to remember these variables are being called class variables, and this variable is a local variable created inside compute. If you want, you can also take the scanner class in common. You can simply take the scanner class in common if you want. So you do not need to create that multiple times inside that. So here the code written outside the functions rawly means if you write any code in a raw way inside the class, that will just be executed, but it has no mean it will just create the object. Scanner class sc will be created, that's all, but it will not go through line by line. Means if I write something here like system.out.println hi, this hi will never be executed. It will just be a part of the object, but it will never be executed. Okay, it will never be executed. So that's the thing you need to remember. Okay, it will never be executed. So if I delete, and this scanner will just create an impression in the object, that's all. That impression I will use inside the inputs. But again, if you are not able to understand this, you can include the scanner class inside the function. But here it will behave same. Means I have created account number variable inside each object. I will create a sc means scanner sc that thing as well in each object. Okay, so that's the thing I'm trying to do. If it is not clear, you can simply introduce the scanner class inside the function. Okay, and if you have any question, you can let me know in the comment sections as well. So if I run the main function, we are almost at the end of our class. So if I introduce that, it will say like enter the title of a book. I can introduce like Gitanjali, suppose. Enter the author, suppose Rabindranath Tagore. I can write and enter the account number. Okay, sorry, it is creating some problem because due to the problem of the scanner class. So that is a problem of scanner class actually. So let me put that thing like, okay, let me take this input earlier at the starting. So this is a problem of scanner class, not with the object. What if you want to understand what happened, you can type in the comment section. But for the timing, I'm just changing the order to just ignore the error. So it is a problem of scanner class, I will say. I'm not describing it here. I will describe that later. So for the time being, 101, suppose account number, enter the title again, once again, Gitanjali. And suppose the author is Rabindranath Tagore. So that's the thing. If I enter, okay. Okay, again, it is creating the problem for this one. Actually, it takes a bad input. That enter has been taken as an input. So that happened. That is happening here as well. So let me take a bad input here inside a bad. Suppose I'm introducing a string s and taking that input inside s. Okay, next. That enter is causing the problem actually. So it is a problem of the scanner class itself. I just want to ignore that part because it is not related with class and object, but still I have to introduce that bad variable is something that will take the enter inside so that it will not create any problem at the time of taking input inside the integer variable. So that was the purpose. So Let me insert once again. Again, if you want to know why it happened, I can describe that in the comment section. It is the problem of the scanner class itself. Okay, it is not related with this program. So Rabindranath Tagore, if I input now, it is asking for number of days for the late fine. So I will say like, okay, I am late for 5 days. So it will say like the late fine is rupees 10, and after that it will print all these things. Okay, so here still the orientation is wrong. So let me change the orientation. So I can use probably double tab to make it's aligned in a good way. I have used tab in that way to make it align, but still it was not in a good way. So I have used double tab. Okay, I can introduce another thing. Because I am updating the program, I can simply introduce a constructor as well. Okay, you can simply introduce a constructor. Account number equals to 0, something like that. Uh, Title equals to some title like NA or something. NA means not applicable, or you can write some author like blank author. You can introduce a compiler, a constructor like that. Now, what will be the reason for using that? Let me make you understand. For the time being, delete that part. We are almost at the end. First, let me run this thing. Let me check if it is working fine or not. Account number 101. Suppose the title Gitanjali and the author is suppose Ravindranath Tagore. So you can see number of the late fine. Suppose I am 5 days late. So now it is almost correct. I have to give another tab, then it will be aligned. But yeah, it is almost okay. Okay. So now what will happen if anyone first, before taking input, first they want to display something. Suppose if anyone by mistakenly, because if you are independent, here you are not independent, you have not got the freedom, but still, what will happen if anyone calls the display function at the first? So what will happen in that case? So if I check, let me introduce some normal thing. Here it is printing something accession number 0 null null. You can see. So that is not wanted. If you got the freedom, obviously, okay, let me put some bad values. If you got the freedom, obviously you can see, if you click on display, you can see something like this. So that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing to print this absurd value. So for that, without showing the null, you can introduce a constructor at the very starting just to show the good values. So now if anyone runs, they can see author as blank. They will not going to see null. Because if you get the freedom, you can click on any button. It is not written anywhere that you have to click on the input button first. You can click on the display button first, and you can see this type of erroneous data. So it is better always to use your constructor to assign the default values inside it. And after that, yeah, now if anyone calls display at the starting, then they can see like 0 and those things. But for the time being, I'm deleting that, and I'm introducing one extra tab to make everything aligned, and I guess it is okay. So this will be the answer. So you can get multiple programs from this album. From question number 4, almost it was they used to maintain this pattern till year 2019. So till 2019, you can check all the question number 4, starting from 2012, I guess. So if you can choose any year and question number 4, you will get this class and object type of question. You can see here. It is something like parking lot. You can go through this album, and it will be a good practice for you as well. So that's all. If you have any problem, you can let me know. It is our first theoretical class, and I tried to give you the examples with some practical codings. But still, I know it is too much for the first day. But if you are able to understand all those concepts, I'm not going to the codes. If you are able to understand the concepts, I guess means we are good to start the object part. And 50% things are already done if you get the object correctly. Okay, so that's all, I guess, and all those links you can refer to. And yeah, if anything is confusing for you, you can get back to me in the comment section. I will try to make it more clear with some more examples or more codings. Okay, so that's all I guess for the day. Bye. In case of any problem, just type that in the comment section. Bye.